What's going on, guys? ChaseWins.com, and it is Wednesday morning, the 29th of December, right here at the end of the year, guys. It's going to be a busy day. I've got a lot of stuff planned, something that I've got to get on here in about the next half hour. So this video will go up after that concludes. I've already got about half of the card laid out for today. Nothing is set in stone just yet because I'm still waiting on a little bit of information. I'm kind of wanting to see what a couple of these lines do between now and 4 or 5 hours from now once we get around lunchtime. And that'll make me solidify my decision on these handful of games. And then obviously I've got my list for later afternoon as well as night games that I will be making final decisions on later today. But I wanted to go ahead, get a couple of free plays out there, do a recap of what we did yesterday, and that way at least it's there. And again, if anything, being that I'm doing this video now and it probably won't go up for 4, 5, 6 hours, if something were to change in any of these free picks that you get, and I decide to lay off, or just anything changes, I will put it in the comment section below. But if you don't see anything there, then everything as is I tell you in this video. If you're new, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you know every time a video goes up, you can get it immediately. Get the free play, get it put in, utilize any of the sales or promotions that we've got going on, so on and so forth. As we say every day, if you have been with us for a while, welcome back. And let's get on another video. What we do have for today, a lot of people have been asking, and again, we spoke about this in yesterday's video, so I will reiterate it for anybody that didn't see that, or it didn't register with them or whatever. But the bowl package that is offered on the site, usually that's $2.99 for the year, but of course I was going to do it cheaper this year. But there was on Christmas Day, the very last day of the 25 days of Christmas special that was being run, doing it for 99 bucks. Well, after further consideration, I decided, you know what? I just want to keep it at $99 until it gets taken off of the site. That will be taken off of the site tonight, sometime overnight hours. But again, come this time tomorrow, Thursday morning, mid-morning, whatever, when you typically would get on to get a package or whatever, it will not be there. And the reason is because it's hard to go through and change the duration of that package every day, as well as the cost and everything. And as we kind of near the end of the bowls, there's just no reason to buy an overall bowl package. Now, again, majority of, or I said a majority of, the bowl week that we always talk about and refer to started yesterday. That was the very first time that we released anything do with this package that we're discussing. It was the first releases of that yesterday. So obviously there will be at least one play today that I really like, and it is involving a later game. Let's just say that one, if all goes according to plans, there will be a play there. The line keeps moving. It keeps bouncing back and forth by a half point. And again, that half point doesn't change my thoughts on the game, but that half point, based on the way that the money is shifting with it, is adding a lot of value for money on one of those numbers. And again, because it's bouncing back and forth and you're getting changes within it, once or twice every half hour, it's going to settle down and stop at some point. Now, if I had to assume, I would say by lunchtime we'll see this line settle down a little bit, kind of find its mark. It's not to say that it couldn't change again from that point, through the hours that remain before the game officially starts, but you won't see as much back and forth because there will be less money coming in on the game as each hour progresses, because people will have already gotten their wagers in. If the line ends or lands where I want it to and where I think that it has an opportunity to, there will be a game on that, and possibly even a secondary play on that same game. Now, even though this is day number 2, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday that is the cream of the crop when it comes to the bowl games. Obviously, on Thursday, tomorrow, you've got your game in Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina, which I think will be one of the better games as far as just an entertainment aspect of things. Of course, you've got on Friday your two playoff games, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Michigan, Georgia. And then, of course, Saturday, you've got outside of your two playoff games, your biggest bowls, you could say. So, still well worth a couple $100 that in of itself. But today is the last day we're going to offer the bowl package. Come tomorrow, obviously you can still buy packages where you can get the plays, but you won't be able to buy the bowl package by itself as a separate entity where that's all you would get. So again, go to the website. It's $99. You don't need a coupon code for it. You go, the price is already set, and you have, just make sure you do it before midnight, because if they've already got it set up to come down as, when the clock strikes midnight, I don't want you to miss out on it and not have a chance. And if you get on it early enough on Wednesday, you'll also get the play that will happen Wednesday evening if that play takes place, which I have a feeling it will. So outside of that, that's one of the things that we've got going on. If you are interested in getting everything, every sport, NHL, because that's now back, NBA, college basketball, then instead of buying a bowl package, jump on an all sports pass. 3-day pass is starting at only $49, a full week starting at only $99. 30 days you can get 30-day all access, which includes games of the week, month, and year. However many are released, no matter the sport, for your duration of that 30 days, you will get included. All access passes are the only way you can get any type of games of the week, month, or year included. Otherwise, you would have to purchase it as a separate play, as always. So make sure you keep that in mind when making your decision. If you have any questions, reach out. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. But nevertheless, get on something. Pure profit guarantee comes with no matter what you buy. So whether it's a 3-day pass, 7-day, 30-day, or a year, if it does not turn overall profit within that time frame, you get extended until profit has been turned. We make sure that you turn a profit and make money off of your purchase, no matter how big or small that purchase is. It's always been that way. It will always be that way. Now, yesterday, going in to kind of give you an idea, some days cannot go as you planned and not be as overwhelmingly successful as you wanted it to be, but still be profitable. And how many times have I said, and I have said it till I'm blue in the face, and I've even had to repeat it to certain clients who seem to forget it. The win-loss record, while is great, yes, you want to win more than you lose. But at the end of the day, the win-loss record means shit. It doesn't mean anything. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is your ROI. Did you make a profit? Are you going to bed with more money in your pocket or in your bankroll than you woke up with that morning? And if the answer is yes, then it was a successful day. Sure, you want it to be as successful as possible. If you're going to have 5 plays, you want to cash all 5 of them. And you know what? We do that quite often. But not always is it going to happen. And these people that say, well, we only play 1 game a day or 2 games a day, and that's because, you can't win playing 5-6 games a day. Well, I can think of 2 times in the last 6 weeks alone where on a random Tuesday or Wednesday, I've released 10 plays and won every single one of them. There's a reason that I am a high volume investor, and that's because I invest in everything that makes sense to do so numbers-wise. If the numbers match, and the math is correct, and the value for money is there, and the edge is present, then my money is going on it. And that is the reason that I am successful and my clients are successful. If I just go out there and say, well, you know what, the numbers, they match, everything's good, this is something I should invest in, but I've already got 3 plays, so I'm not going to worry about it, you are leaving money on the table, period. And I don't leave money on the table. But at the same time, I also don't force something, because if there's not something worth playing, the last thing that I'm going to do is risk money that shouldn't be even put up anyway. And that goes for myself as well as the clients that I have. So yesterday, we did have a play yesterday on the Louisville Cardinals. I liked them as an underdog. But what I told my clients to do is, instead of wagering it as a premium play, even though it was released on the premium card, was to wager it as a lean, as a half unit instead of a full unit. And that is because prior to looking at the lineups for both games, the players that were going to be in attendance, so that kind of seeing what your starting squad was going to be for both teams, Louisville was, I mean, held the edge in almost every category that I take into consideration. Now, were there changes in that? Yes, there were changes for about 3 consecutive days leading up into game day, where Louisville had players, get announced that were not playing. And again, most of which were not big key players that you would think would make an overwhelming impact on it. But when you talk about a half dozen people being scratched from your game day card in a matter of 72 hours, while one individual player, no matter who it is, means not much, collectively, when you're talking about 6 of them, it can have an impact. While at the end of it, this game still met the premium criteria. Not by a lot, but it still met it, meaning I was still going to release it and wager it. I had a weird feeling about the game because of all of the changes that had been made last minute, which is why I told my clients to only wager a half unit on it. And again, there's method to the madness, and it was the right call. Because again, while I don't regret releasing the play, despite that it lost, instead of my players betting Louisville plus 1.5 and just losing a full unit, they lost a half unit. So again, method to the madness, where that right there could change the whole course of the day. So we dropped that play, and then Minnesota did not go over the total with West Virginia of 44. While there was more than enough offense in that game, neither team, when getting on the opposite side of the field or even in the red zone, could do anything. They were prone to mistakes. They were playing careless on both sides of the ball. And again, while there was more than enough offense, every defense tightened up tremendously inside the red zone and just prevented all of that offense from being able to turn into any points. So again, it was a loss there, but we're still down less money than we would have normally been. We jump on over to NCAA basketball, and then of course things turn around, and that's where the winning starts taking place, and the king of college hoops does it again. The only game that we lost, we did have Gonzaga. We took a minus 33.5, and could they have won that game by 33.5? Sure. They should have won it by 45. But again, I go off of the track record of when Gonzaga usually will pull their main 5 starters and start playing some of their backup guys or their younger guys that they want to start giving experience once the game's in the bag. And usually Gonzaga is consistent. You can bank on them to do it 9 out of every 10 games, no matter who they're playing. Well, yesterday they did it about 2.5 minutes earlier than they have at all in the past 2 seasons. So, again, they won by 30, and they could have easily won by 40 just by not pulling them as early as they did. You can never predict that because, again, I'm going off of historically what this coach does, and I haven't seen him pull his main 5 starters this early in a game in 2 full seasons. So to assume that he's going to do that on just any random day is impossible. And it would be dumb to assume it, so I'm not mad about the play. It's one of those that you just have to accept that things happen outside of your control or that you couldn't be prepared to happen. Because if you're going to play like that, where what if, you'll never make a single investment in your life. So we dropped that one. We had Maryland minus 21. They won by 21, so that was a push. No harm, no foul, like it never existed. We had St. Mary's, California, minus 12. St. Mary's in California, against Yale. Why people didn't like that pick when I released it, I got 3 people sending me messages going, well, Yale, this, that, and the other. They didn't make an argument for themselves. They pretty much just made my argument for me, but said they didn't like the pick. Well, St. Mary's absolutely blew the doors off of them and did it without even breaking a sweat. So a nice win there. And then we had our top play of the day, which was the Texas Longhorns, minus 33. I hate laying spreads that big, especially on a top play, but that was just like taking candy from a baby. Every single way I broke this game down, and I limit my stuff. Like, I cannot create a line that justifies more than 45 based on the way that I do things. And once it gets to 45, even though I think it, might be higher, that's just where I stop it. and it got to 45 before I even got halfway through breaking it down. I mean, there was just no question that this was a game that should have had a 50-point line on it. So it was an easy decision to release it as a top play, and they won by more than 50. I think 55 or 56 they won the game by. So an easy top play winner, picking up 3 units there and cashing yet another top play. I think that right there, as far as daily top plays go, that puts us almost 2 weeks. If we have top plays between now and Friday and don't lose any of those, that'll be 2 full weeks of cashing every single daily top play that we have released in all sports. So keeping it going there. Then we jump over into the NHL. First day back in basically a week after all the games have been postponed for COVID reasons. But the first day back where there's multiple games on the card that can be played, and with 4 games being played yesterday, I played 3 of them, 4 picks in total, and there was only one thing that kept it from being a clean 4-0 sweep, and that was the fact that the game went into overtime. We had the San Jose Sharks, and we took them minus 140 on the money line, but we took it in regulation. So they won the game. They did what they needed to do, but they did it in overtime. Had they done it in regulation, we would have won that, gone 4-0. But because they did it in overtime, we dropped that play. But we had the Montreal Canadiens, Tampa Bay Lightning over 5.5. Easy winner there. The Las Vegas Golden Knights and the LA Kings over 5.5. Another easy winner from start. Game was over before it started. And then we also took the Golden Knights on the money line as the road favorite at minus $1.35, and they took care of business easily. So again, we dropped a couple of games that were losses that were hard to swallow. We had to push there, but all the clients still picked up over a unit of profit. And again, profit is profit, and that's the only thing that we're after. So we're going to get it again today, but it's going to be an even bigger day, and you do not want to miss out. So let's get on a couple of free plays. Like I said, by the time you're seeing this, if any changes in the plays that I'm getting ready to give you change, it will be posted below. If you don't see that, then everything stands as I'm going to tell you. We're going to look at a couple of favorites. We're going to look at a couple of dogs. So starting out with the favorites, we'll start with this one, Iowa. This is a game. Iowa is at home. And let's just make sure that this line has not changed from 20 minutes ago. All right. Nope. All right. So 8 p.m. Iowa. Right now, they are they are laying 17.5 against Western Illinois at home. Now, when I break this game down every single way, I'm getting Iowa anywhere from minus 25 to minus 27.5. Now, again, some of these factors that change my lines, you can't ever use them as law because, again, some of them are, I'm not going to get into it. Just some of them are not something that I would take into consideration and say, I'm going to set a line based on this, but it is something that I think about to tell me how far off the actual line may be. So even if we go and give every benefit of the doubt to Western Illinois on this one, I'm still getting Iowa minus 25, not 17.5. So again, this line has gone from 17 where it opened to all the way to 18, now back down to 17.5, and it may very well hit 18 again. It may drop back down to its original number of 17. Whatever you want to look at it, we're looking at somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8-point edge based on what the line is and what I've come out with. And the reason that I believe that, and I'm not in the heads of the odds makers who have set these lines, but I believe that it's because Western Illinois has a good record. Hell, to be honest with you, their overall season record is, it's great. Here's the thing about that. At 10-3, they are actually, now granted, they have played an extra, they've played one more game than Iowa. They're 10-3, Iowa's 9-3. So I believe that that's kind of an overreaction to what their record is. But if you look at the 10-3, look at the teams that they've beaten. They are nobodies. They do not have one impressive win on their resume that would make you think for a second that they can take down a team like Iowa, especially, going to Iowa to play. Now, Iowa has had some tough losses that I don't think they should have taken. Is Iowa the team that they were portrayed as going into the season? No, I don't believe so. And do I think this is a team that they would go and blow out by 40 even though they have the talent to do so? No, because Iowa is one to take their foot off the gas a little bit. But I believe 25 is the accurate line, and what's giving the credit to Western Illinois and giving them, or let's say letting Iowa lay less, is because of the fact that they have a 10-3 record that is clouding the judgment of the people that are making these lines. Now, again, I haven't locked this in as a premium play or anything, but if this game is at 18 or less, at the very least, I will have fun money on it because I know that even on a bad day, Iowa is a 20-plus point better team than Western Illinois. It was like that on game one. It'll be like that come the very end of the season. And like I said, at the very least, it's worth fun money just because of the talent dynamic. So again, that's more of your lower tier play. Your official free play as far as our favorites go is going to be Miami. Miami and NC State. Right now, Miami is laying 3.5, but again, it keeps kind of bouncing around. I've seen 3.5s, I've seen 4s. I even saw a 4.5 this morning, but I only saw it at one place, and it was with a small offshore book. So again, that could change. I don't care where you look at it. I think that is somewhat accurate. When I break this game down, I have Miami at 5.5. But while that doesn't provide much of an edge based on the official line, whether that official line is 3.5, 4, 4.5, whatever it comes out to be, that doesn't provide us an edge. Because if I've got the line at 5 and it's at 4, that's only 1 point, not enough of an edge to play with. But there is value for money here if you're willing to lay the money line. The money line at this moment is minus $1.40. And while I don't usually like laying $1.40 money lines in basketball, and I would say that less than 2% of my basketball plays are ever involving money lines and favorites, usually my money lines are with underdogs, there are some times where the money line is where to go because it presents value for money in the fact that all you have to do is pick the winner of the game versus also beating a spread. So in this game, do I think that Miami is an overwhelming favorite to NC State? No, I do not. Truth be told, defensively, I think NC State is a better team by some margin. Offensively, I think anybody that follows it knows that Miami is the better offensive team. They are better from the three-point line for sure. But if you also look at what they do from the free throw line, they have a pretty significant advantage there as well. Not to mention, while they don't do it as much on the road, and we all know that also comes into officiating, where the home team is often getting more calls than the road team. When they are at home, some of it may be the fact that they get lenience from the refs and they call things that maybe shouldn't be called, but even things that should be called, Miami draws a lot of fouls at home because they play so fast, so up-tempo, and when you leave any door open for them to go inside on you, they will do it, even if they've got the wide open three. And they'll do it for two reasons. Number one, they can drive in fast and usually just outrun you. And if a team doesn't have a dominant big man to stop it, they know that they've got a good shot at going up and scoring, or they can draw a foul, or both. They score a basket and draw a foul and get a chance for a three-point play uncontested. That is Miami's strength. That is why they are who they are at this moment, and while they're continuing to grow as a team and get better and better. So while I don't think there's an edge with the line, the fact that we're getting it under $1.50 when I've got the money line, again, my line is Miami -5 with a 165 money line. Right now we can get it at minus $1.40. I think that's value for money, even though I don't like laying that in basketball. I'm going to do it. So that is your official free play for our favorites. And then our two underdogs, Providence Seton Hall. Again, these are about as evenly matched as you can get. But I just think that it's opposite. Right now, Seton Hall's laying 2. Right now, I've got Providence as 2.5-point favorites. Not to mention, that's looking at it on a neutral site platform. The fact that Providence is at home, you could easily go out there and give them another 1.5 to 3 points, depending on what their home court means. being the fact that this is a conference style game where I do think that, again, these teams, while most of the national spotlight's not on them, they don't like each other. They play very similar, and they're about as even as you can get. And I do think that in this spot, at the very least, home court's worth a bucket. So 2 to 3 points. That and the fact that I do think that based on free throw percentage and the fact that you consider smart fouls and careless fouls, Providence has the edge there. You also look at the fact of how far can they go playing 100% at what they do. Which team starts tapering first? Providence has the edge there. So again, not by a lot, but I've got Providence as 2.5-point favorites, and right now they're catching 2 points. I don't think the money line provides any value here, and that's only because you're going to get either even money or plus $1.05. You may find $1.10 out there. At even money, just the fact of laying no juice provides no value in this spot, and I honestly don't think plus $1.05 gives enough incentive not to take these 2 points and put them in your back pocket in a game that on any given day could be decided by 2 points. While I think that whoever wins this game wins by 5 points, maybe a little bit more, I think that the 2 points are definitely worth putting in your pocket. For that reason, I'll lay the $1.10, but I'm going to take Providence plus 2. Your other underdog that I'm going to go with is going to be Tennessee, and I'm going to take the 4.5 points, put them in my back pocket. Is Alabama the better team? Again, it depends on how you're talking about it. Offensively, Alabama's the better team. Alabama's the faster team. Alabama's at home. Alabama has more key players that I think are impact players. But I think as far as head coach, how smart they are when they play as a team, their overall control and how they move the ball, burn clock, and make sure they're shooting the open shot. And then, of course, the number one, I think Tennessee's better on defense. Not by an extreme margin, but better nonetheless. And if you look at defensive numbers based on scores allowed, and you consider Alabama doing it at home and Tennessee doing it on the road, there's a 6.5-point margin in Tennessee's favor just on that alone. I mean, just on that. Not considering the other things I was talking about. So when I broke this game down, also giving Alabama every benefit of the doubt, plus giving them 2.5 points for home court, because that's what I gave them, I'm coming up with Tennessee minus 2. And they're catching 4.5. And truth be told, while I do think that Alabama is a better team than Tennessee in multiple aspects, I also think that Alabama, as good as they are and as good as they're perceived to be, I think is somewhat a flash in the pan. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't think they are an Elite 8 finalist type team. I don't even think they're a Sweet 16 team unless they just happen to get matched up in the right bracket where they're facing teams much lower than them. If they have to play teams at their caliber, I would be amazed if they made it to the Sweet 16 and absolutely mentally baffled if they made the Elite 8. Tennessee, while I don't think they're either one of those either, they are a potential Sweet 16 team if everything goes right. And Tennessee's one of those teams that if you let them into the Sweet 16, they'll either shoot themselves in the foot and lose it themselves without getting beaten. They won't lose a game to somebody else. They'll lose it themselves, or they'll surprise the world and they'll make it to the Final Four out of nowhere. I don't like Tennessee. I don't like their head coach, but I'm not going to sit there and say that he doesn't know what he's doing, because as far as just overall knowledge from a head coaching standpoint, he may very well be the best in all of the SEC outside of John Calipari. So that's what I'm going to go with. So your official free play on as far as the favorites go is Miami on the money line, minus 140 over NC State. Your secondary play, lean if you will go Iowa minus 17.5 against Western Illinois. And then your two underdogs that I'm rolling with are Providence plus 2 at minus $1.10, and then Tennessee plus 4.5. And we're only laying $1.05 for that one. So even better value, showing you that the money coming in is favoring Alabama. for sure. And the odds makers are also making people kind of lean towards Alabama as well. So we're going opposite that. I just don't believe they're accurate, and that's what we're going to go with. So it's going to be a big Wednesday. Sorry for the long video. Go to chasewins.com, get signed up. People keep asking about, now that NHL is back running, will we get the big play that we were talking about? Again, that was a game for a couple of weeks ago that didn't happen because it got called off. There was no game. Is there a game that I'm looking at for later this week? Yes, there are two of them. I mentioned that yesterday. I also mentioned that right now there is a game a game for NCAA basketball as well as NBA. So I believe that there will be at least two big releases between now and the end of the week across two different sports. There could be as many as four. I wouldn't believe that all of them would get released, but I would love, absolutely love, before December is over to be able to release a game of the month in either NHL or NBA, since we've yet to have one of those. But it's not going to be forced. So we'll see what happens there. And then, yes, there will be, hopefully, if everything goes the way it goes and the line comes out the way that I want it to, there will be a big play in NCAA basketball as well to follow up the last game of the week we had with Oklahoma, which was another big win, and we'll keep it going. So keep on the lookout for that. It will be announced as soon as anything is locked in, and hopefully we'll be able to cash in multiple plays like that before the week is out and as we round out 2021 and kick off 2022. So I love you guys. We'll have something special for you on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. Still kind of considering multiple ideas and multiple options. Announcements coming up soon about some changes being made that I'm excited to tell everybody about. And, yep, it's going to be a great 2022. So let's finish 2021 strong and come do it with us. And for everybody that joins us, we'll see you in the winner's circle.